The mid-morning sun glinted off the lake as I was tending to the garden near my lake cabin. It was a quiet day, peaceful, serene, and exactly the kind of moment I cherished. That calm, however, was shattered by a familiar, infuriating sound. Karen's voice on the phone, calling the authorities. She claimed I was trespassing in the pool area, despite the fact that I wasn't even a member of her HOA. Her audacity was staggering. She assumed entitlement, authority, and the power to dictate actions on property she had no claim over. What she didn't realize was how disastrously wrong she was. I calmly set the watering can down and approached the porch, Max padding at my side. Karen, ever determined to assert her imagined authority, had already mobilized a small group of HOA enforcers, convinced that they could bully or intimidate me into compliance. The audacity of someone attempting to enforce rules on property that wasn't theirs is a rare thing, but Karen had made a career of it. I stepped onto the dock, surveying the situation. "Karen," I said firmly, voice carrying across the water. "You are attempting to enforce authority where you have none. This property is private, and your HOA has no jurisdiction here. Any attempt to remove me or interfere will be considered illegal." Her face twisted with disbelief. I called the cops," she stammered, her voice trembling between outrage and panic. "They'll make you leave." I smirked, knowing exactly how this would unfold. The moment she escalated, she played directly into a well-prepared plan. I activated the property security system, which immediately transmitted surveillance footage to the local police and legal counsel. Every inch of my property, every movement, and every interaction was documented in real time, leaving no room for false claims or ambiguity. By the time the authorities arrived, Karen and her enforcers were already facing a legal nightmare. The police quickly assessed the situation, reviewed the footage, and confirmed the obvious. The property was privately owned, and no HOA had any authority over my actions. Karen's audacity had not only failed, it had left her exposed to potential charges for harassment and false reporting. Max growled low as Karen attempted to step forward, gesturing and shouting, clearly expecting compliance. She had underestimated preparation, evidence, and authority, three elements that rendered her threats meaningless. The officers, recognizing her attempts at manipulation, politely but firmly instructed her to leave the property immediately. Karen's confusion escalated into frustration and panic. She began waving her arms, pointing at non-existent violations, and insisting that I vacate. But her claims had already been thoroughly neutralized. Every threat, every audacious assertion had been documented and invalidated. The HOA enforcers accompanying her shrank back, realizing that the audacity they were relying on was powerless against legal authority and preparation. By afternoon, Karen had retreated, humiliated and powerless. The lake cabin, the garden, and the surrounding property remained entirely secure. Max patrolled the perimeter, vigilant and alert, a silent guardian reinforcing the message that boundaries were not to be crossed. Sarah joined me on the porch, shaking her head in disbelief at the sheer audacity Karen had displayed. "She actually thought she could force you off your own property," she said. I nodded, reflecting on the pattern of audacious attempts and their inevitable failures. Preparation, documentation, and calm authority had neutralized yet another reckless act. As the sun began to set, casting gold and pink hues across the water, the property stood serene and untouchable. Karen's audacity had collided with preparation, legal authority, and decisiveness, and failed spectacularly. The lake cabin, the garden, and the family's sanctuary were fully protected. The lesson was unmistakable. Entitlement, audacity, and intimidation are powerless when confronted with preparedness, authority, and legal evidence. Every attempt Karen made to manipulate, coerce, or trespass had been neutralized before it could escalate. Her audacity had backfired, leaving her humiliated, powerless, and permanently documented in a legal context. By nightfall, peace returned. Max lay near the cabin, vigilant but calm, while the surrounding land reflected the quiet authority of preparation and protection. Karen's schemes had once again failed, leaving the property, the family, and their sanctuary secure, untouchable, and victorious. The lake cabin now stood as a testament. Audacity without authority, foresight, or legal grounding cannot succeed. It only leads to exposure, humiliation, and inevitable defeat.